Those are 57 statues, including 807 as Sphinx and 250 by the side of Karnak on both sides, including 130 on the shape of ram, because ram was the symbol of Amman as a god, which was worshipped in Luxor. It dates back to the 14 centuries before Christ, whereby this avenue aged as 3,400 years. After that, King Nectanebo I from the 30th Dynasty, who shaped the statues at the shape of a human being. We found out 1/3 of the statues. However, excavations are still ongoing, and today we are launching the project of unearthing and uncovering the Avenue of Sphinx. If you look at the images, this is the initiation of unearthing the avenue. The first statue was found in the western side in 1948. Since then, excavations keep on going and stopping and then resuming. However, all of the staff members were Egyptians. However, the major part of the work was between 2004 to 2017, and the state actually launched a project in order to unearth the avenue, and according to your own directives, we resumed the avenue excavation. This will be an added value, and that's why we can call Luxor as an open-air museum. This avenue connects between the Karnak and the Luxor. The Karnak is a complex of temples, and here is Luxor Temple. It will be illuminated as such. Some of those illuminations are only for this celebration, but we shall continue illuminating it. Luxor, indeed, is a city registered on the International Heritage since 1978. Luxor encompasses the largest complex of monuments worldwide on both sides, eastern and western, diversified monuments. However, in this event, we want to promote Luxor as a monumental destination as well as other aspects. We have a complete international coverage, media coverage. Luxor served as the capital of the 4th region of the Upper Egypt. Usually, our ancestors ranked the cities from south to the north, because the south is the opening of the Nile. Therefore, Luxor was the capital of the city since 4,000 years ago, and it served as the capital of Egypt. This is where they launched the liberation battle against the Hyksos. The temple carries the name of the Luxor city, which is Luxor Temple. It looks at the Karnak. It is not horizontal to the Nile, but rather parallel to the Nile, in order to receive the procession coming from Karnak. That's why this avenue had been actually paved. When our colleagues excavated here, they found not only this avenue, but they found the potteries, and they found vineyards, pottery, irrigation systems. The whole life, integrated life, was actually symbolized here. That's why it was called the southern procession. However, the temple had been constructed in the 15th century before Christ, and mainly Amenhotep III in the 14th century, Ramses III, 13th century before Christ. However, construction never ended up or stopped here. Alexander the Great created the sanctity of the sanctities. Part of it turned into a Roman temple, is in addition to the churches that turned into, and Muslims actually built Masjid Abu al-Haddad. The temple encompassed 2 obelisks. One of them had been gifted to France. The second obelisk is still existing, that carries inscriptions for the Ramses III while giving the offerings to Amun-Ra. And the plaque inscribes the peace treaty against the Houthis. The temple is fronted by 6 statues of Ramses, 4 of them while sitting and 2 while standing. And when I learned this historical education and when I taught my students, I only taught part of those statues because part of them had been demolished. But my colleagues, conducted the necessary restorations of the statues until we have a complete facade encompassing the 6 statues of Ramses. And now we finished the avenue of the 30th dynasty, and we are entering into the Laksa Temple, and we are going to enter into the 30th dynasty before Christ. Those are the banners of the flags that have been erected, and the obelisk actually carries a group of monkeys that salute the sun. We have 2 big statues of Ramses II made of granite, on right of which he has his wife. And this is the first building, and we are about to enter into the first vestibule. And this vestibule displays the beauty of the Egyptian civilization, the first of which is the 18th dynasty, and we will find Ramses II for the 19th dynasty. And those are the remains of a church on top of which the masjid or the mosque, because it had been unearthed. This masjid dates back to 800 years ago, since the Ayyubian era, and the great part of it is that the entrance is actually a pharaonic monument, and they maintained the pharaonic inscriptions. However, it had been still maintained as a masjid or a mosque. This is the 18th dynasty that included 3 chapels in order to receive the procession of the 18th dynasty. This is a vestibule of Ramses II. It's an open air that symbolizes the papyrus, because the temple was a small world. That's why they wanted always to symbolize everything that goes on life. This is a statue of Ramses II, while his right foot is in front of the left foot, symbolizing that he is still alive. And we are ending now the work of the Ramses II. After that, we come to Amenhotep from the 18th dynasty. He created this glorious line of columns, and the papyrus was the symbol of the north in the ancient Egypt. And after that, we will find the vestibule where the celebration is going to take place. All of those facades tells us about the festival of Opet. Our celebration today portrays the Opet festivation. I'm going to stop here at the secret of the Egyptian civilization, which is this scene. This scene is called as Sema Tawi. Sema is the unity. Tawi means land, which is the both territories, which is the north and south. This is the papyrus as well as the lotus, which symbolizes the unity and strength of this state. Who sits together? This is a god, symbolizing the prosperity, happy, which means the flood of the Nile, and the strength of the overflow of the Nile, which is responsible for life in Egypt. That's why they worshipped it, and they turned the flood into a god named as Happy, who creates the unity there for the Egyptian nation. In order to continue being strong as such, they need 2 elements to be always in unity, as well as the Nile and the flood. Together with me, I have my colleague Manel, one of the restorators who stood at this scavenge, and she wants to thank you. We would like to welcome you to Luxor City, which turned into a bride because of your presence here. Our effort is based on your support, which had been conveyed always by His Excellency the Prime Minister. I am one of the people of Laksa City. I'm one of the team who worked in the excavation unearthing the Avenue of Sphinx, which had been opened under your presidency. We opened many monumental destinations due to your constant support that had been conveyed by His Excellency the Prime Minister when he used to visit us here on site. And he always monitored the work on site, and he always climbed over the scaffold, and it served as a boost for us to continue working as much as possible. So we'd like to thank you very much.
Mr. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the President of Egypt. His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the President of Arab Republic of Egypt. In the place of the temple of Hatshepsut, where she incarnated the idea of the empowerment of women since history. We welcome you all to Luxor.
بكم جميعا في مدينة الأقصر، المدينة اللي سبقت الزمن وفضلت لحد يومنا ده شاهدة على عبقرية المصريين.
من معبد مدينة هابو اللي بيجمع بين القداسة الروحية والانتصارات، بنرحب بيكم جميعا في الأقصر، أرض الأمجاد وأرض عظمة المصريين القدماء. بنرحب بيكم النهاردة في هذا الحدث الفريد من قلب مدينة الأقصر، وبتشريف فخامة السيد الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي والسيدة حرمه.
من البر الغربي لنهر النيل العظيم، ومن المكان اللي اكتشفوا فيه أكتر الملوك شهرة توت عنخ آمون وجميع كنوزه اللي من الذهب الخالص، من وادي الملوك المبهر وسط هيبة وقداسة مقابر ملوك وملكات المصريين القدماء، بلمحة من أجواء تاريخنا الخالد. بنرحب بكم جميعاً في الأقصر، مدينة الكنوز.
مصر دايما كانت منارة السلام للعالم. افتتاح متحف الأقصر في سنة 1975 كان رمز ودعوة لنهاية الحروب وبداية عهد السلام. بنرحب بكم جميعا في الأقصر وبنبعت لكم رسالة حب من أرض الحضارة والسلام.
مش هنكون بنبالغ لما نقول إن كل شبر في مصر في كنوز وآثار، لأنه مصر بلد الحضارة والتاريخ. بنرحب بيكم في مدينة الأقصر، أرض الملوك والسحر والجمال.
من نفس الطريق المواكب الكبرى طريق الكباش، ومن على جوانب البحيرة المقدسة أشهر بحيرة على الإطلاق بنوصل لمجمع معابد الكرنك بكل ما فيه من قداسة وغموض ثروات أجدادنا المصريين القدماء. بنرحب بيكم جميعاً في الأقصر، مدينة التاريخ اللي بينبض بحضارتنا الخالدة.
من هنا من معبد الأقصر نبدأ الاحتفال.
السيد الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي رئيس جمهورية مصر العربية والسيدة حرمه، السادة ضيوف مصر الكرام، السيدات والسادة الحضور الكريم، شرف كبير إني أرحب بحضراتكم النهاردة في احتفالية فريدة من نوعها. حدث مهم مش بس لينا كمصريين، لكنه مهم لكل عشاق الحضارة المصرية في كل بلاد العالم، واللي أنظارهم النهاردة متجهة إلى صعيد مصر، وتحديداً مدينة الأقصر، مدينة المئة باب طيبة. الاحتفال النهاردة فيه عروض كثيرة ومتنوعة، بينتهي بعرض مستوحى من عيد الأوبت من خلال موكب بيتحرك من معابد الكرنك حتى يصل إلى معبد الأقصر. وإحنا بنتكلم عن مدينة الأقصر، فهي حرفياً أكبر متحف مكشوف بيضم أكبر تجمع للآثار في مكان واحد حول العالم. سميت بالأقصر لكثرة معابدها وقصورها، آثار تحدت الزمن وشاهدة على مكانة وقوة من بناها. وكأن هذه الأعمدة الشاهقة بتقول إن المصريين قادرين يبنوا مجد وحضارة تطول السماء. آثار رسخت مكانة مصر التاريخية وصنعت سحرها وجمالها. ألهمتنا النهاردة كمصريين إننا نبني ونطور، نبني دولة قوية، جمهورية جديدة تواكب العصر وتوفر لأبنائها حياة كريمة. من حقنا النهاردة نحتفل بكل هذه الإنجازات ونتباهى أمام العالم بجمال وحلاوة بلدنا، لأن حقيقي بلدنا جميلة.
في جنة على أرضنا وجالنا العالم قال هنا مكاننا من بداية الحياة. من كل البلاد بلدنا فيها حجر بينطق تاريخنا، ونيل يشهد يعيش جوا روحنا هنا بداية الحياة. تصور حلو، شوفوا الجبل شوفوا الخيال وشوفوا لله. حلو بلدنا حلو، الكون بحاله وبجماله مش في جمالها. حلو وناسها حلو، شوفوا الجبل شوفوا الخيال وشوفوا لله. حلو بلدنا حلو، الكون بحاله وبجماله مش في جمالها. ولف الدنيا دور ودور، قولي فين تشوف تصور سحر يعيش سنين. تصور كل ده عندنا.
Soaring through time as legends make their way from land to sky. On m'a parlé d'un trésor que l'on ne trouverait dans les plus beaux songes. One of its kind. Here we are as we follow those golden lights. Mais sur Luxor j'ai posé les yeux, je vois là. We believe in our dreams. Searching through and through, my journey leads me back to you. And in the valley of the kings, it's always here I feel complete. À chaque détour, je découvre ce que l'histoire signifie. Comme si les rêves pouvaient être saisis. Luxor est le berceau de la vie. هنا في جنة على أرضنا، وجالنا العالم قال هنا مكاننا من بداية الحياة. من كل البلاد بلدنا فيها حجر بينطق تاريخنا، ونليش هادي يعيش جوا روحنا. هنا بداية الحياة.